Hello, and welcome to the Trailblazers podcast. We are your hosts, Disha, Solanki, and Brittany Anderson. And today we talk about a subject that no one talks about, or they don't talk about it very often. But many of us have or are experiencing burnout, misalignment, and the pressure to have it all, which is causing more high achieving women to silently step away from the businesses they built. And in this episode, Brittany and I talk about the silent killer of success and offer practical strategies that worked for us to help you reignite your passion, regain control, and redefine success on your terms.
So let's get real here for a second. Have you ever thought about just burning it all down? I mean, that time where you're like, I'm just going to sell the business, I'm going to walk away from it. I'm going to go take my family or take just myself and go live on a little deserted island with cute little pink umbrella drinks and a beautiful beach and all of that. So, what we're talking about, as Disha mentioned, is why even the most successful women are secretly dreaming of walking away from their very own businesses. So I know, Disha, you had recently found some statistics that I thought were super interesting just around this whole topic of women, business, burnout, and the throwing in the towel.
Yeah, and I'm actually just going to read it. A 2021 survey by Forbes and Women Who Tech found that 48% of female founders reported experiencing symptoms of burnout, like chronic fatigue, mood swings, and insomnia, compared to 38% of female founders. And actually, another really interesting survey by Albright in 2022 noted that nearly 33% of female entrepreneurs considered quitting their business due to stress-related issues. And it's interesting, Brittany, that you say silently. I mean, you're probably right on the silent in terms of I say it in my own home more times than I can count in the last 18 years. But you're right. Like so many times I've thought it. And actually, a lot of times I've thought it, and I've even not been bothered about the consequence. I'll just sack it all in and I'm not bothered what my exit value is. I don't know what I'm going to do after. I don't know any of those things. But in that moment in time, and sometimes it's not just one moment, it could be a whole day or a whole week. And I just think I can't do this anymore. Or how long can I keep doing this is a question I then go on to ask myself.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting too is there's this, let's just call it a strange dichotomy where you have these feelings, you're running your business, and there are times, and what's crazy is your business can actually be doing well and you still can feel this way, right? So I think it boils down again to how many different directions you're being pulled and what's going on and, what's going on at home versus in your day-to-day life of business, but business and home kind of all meshed together. I mean, it can feel chaotic at times. But what I think is interesting, especially for the entrepreneurial brain, is a lot of times when we feel that sense of overwhelm, instead of taking a step back, which I think is why this kind of epidemic is happening, instead of taking a step back and actually looking at what should I say no to and what is a hell yes for me and how can I minimize and maybe get rid of some of the things that are bogging me down, as entrepreneurs, we tend to just stack things on our plate. Like, I mean, I think about it was about from the time we're recording this, let's just call it about a year and a half ago. I was in that space, and you know this. I mean, we've had conversations about this, but I was just completely overwhelmed. I was feeling burnt out. I was so exhausted, mind, body, soul, everything. And what did I do? I went and acquired another business. And it's like in hindsight, you look back and you laugh because you can't do anything else but that because you're going to cry otherwise. But I think that there is this fine balance and we just keep stacking because it fills some sort of void when in reality, we should maybe take a step back and actually look at, all right, what do we even maybe say no to, even the things that we want to say yes to, but aren't serving us anymore.
I think most of us are experts in convincing ourselves of the high standards that we have, and we should definitely be living up to them, right? That's a reality. That's so unreal. It's untrue, right? And what many of us fail to understand is even when we're busy, because this is like a dream place to be sometimes, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you came from ground zero to a place where you're busy and you're sat there thinking, I should be really grateful for where I am right now and what I'm achieving and what the business is bringing, et cetera, et cetera. But that brings with it a new set of problems, because now you're almost like needing to declutter and clean up the brain that you've got going, because before you probably didn't have that many ideas, but as you've grown in business, you've got more ideas, you've got somewhere else to be, or you've got lots of interests, as the case may be with you and I, Brittany. And you're wondering if you're in the right space, right? Because you think, and it's not because we think everything glitters is gold, but we're genuinely interested in the other businesses that we would like to set up or acquire. And trying to figure out what the priority of that is very difficult. And because sometimes we have to do some stacking, and we want it all, and we want it all now. And it's understanding that we can have it. It just might not all be tomorrow that we get it.
I think that's so true. It goes back to the old saying of, what is it? You can do anything, but not everything. And it's really honing in on and I know it can be this whole topic can be beat to death about like making sure that you're doing the things that light you up and that are only in your strengths and only in your wheelhouse, and just hire and delegate the rest. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes in business, you have to like put your boots on and get to work. Like there are things that have to be done. And by all means, like we both believe in delegation and tapping into great talent and all the things, but there are also times that require you to dive into the business and make sure that the ship is still sailing in the right direction and that the foundation isn't getting cracked or rocky. I was watching this short video the other day. I think it was actually George Clooney, the actor, that was in an interview, but he said something that was really interesting. He talked about how success can actually be, and I'm going to totally botch this, so please don't take this verbatim, but the general gist that success actually can cause depression, and it can actually cause stunted growth. It's your failures that actually help you grow and learn and evolve. And I think too, as a high achiever and as a high achieving woman, when you have that failure, you have that point in your business and your life that things did not go as you were expecting, we have our attention pulled in so many different ways, especially if you're listening to this as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as a friend, as a whatever. We have our attention pulled. We don't have time to mourn the loss, right? Like we're just like right back into it, doing all the things. So after so much time, instead of breathing and going through a specific methodology to help us get back and to build back even stronger, which is the goal of any failure, we just keep going through the motions a lot of times. And I think that has to have something to do with this level of burnout that's happening.
And I think as women, most of us, and I would say I'm included in this, build or start businesses because we want time freedom so that we can fulfill all those other roles. But actually, you get to a point where you feel trapped within your own business, and it does a complete opposite of what you set out for it to do. And so that business that was meant to give you freedom or whatever it is that you wanted from it makes you feel like you're in a cage and it didn't give you what you wanted it to do.
I think that's so true. And I look back and I think there's been a little bit of a shift maybe in the last year or two, but you think about the hustle culture, like we are taught, and I mean, I'm not going to throw out all the names there, but there are many, call it powerful, high positioned, maybe a lot of men, some women too, that are telling us like, you have to sleep at the office. You have to be the one that's making all the phone calls. You're the salesperson. You're the operations. You're doing that. Like, and you're like, okay, all right, what am I supposed to do next?
You're the finance person. You're absolutely everything. The list is endless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you're sleeping, that means you are failing and your counterpart is getting far ahead. And it's so damaging. Like it is so damaging. So this is the other thing too, that I want to pull back to like delegations, because I think this is a contributing factor. There are many, many people in my life, and I know Disha, same thing for you, who are great delegators, like people who that is their mojo, like they just delegate and that's what they do.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of times people are delegating things that don't really move the needle. And I've been guilty of this, where you're like, okay, well, if I could just delegate my file management in my Google Drive, like, or whatever filing system you have. That's going to make me feel so good because I shouldn't be spending my time on those things. But the problem is we're still faced with so much decision fatigue.
Yeah.
Like, you get to the end of the day, Disha, and it's like, okay, you've done your thing, you've done your work, you've made your connections, you've taken that stride in your business, and then you get home and there's that horrible question, what's for dinner?
So this will make you laugh, Brittany, then, if you so you carry on. I'll let you finish.
No, I want to hear it. I need to hear it because I think you know where I'm going. So pick this up.
I went to a supermarket twice yesterday. No, not once, twice. Okay. The first time it was we ran out of egg whites and we ran out of eggs. And there was some of the like bits and pieces, right? Because we hadn't had a shopping delivery for 5 days. Okay, fine. So I went to the supermarket. I came home, Brittany. I opened the fridge and I went, and what would be for dinner today? Those were my literal words to myself, right? So then I went back to a supermarket to go, okay, now I need 3 days worth of dinner. Today, Brittany, I've got calls all the way until past picking up my daughter, right? And everything I bought that's in the fridge takes minimum of 90 minutes to cook. I don't know what I was thinking. What was I thinking? So now I'm still back to, I thought I was so smart yesterday, right? I bought some really easy to make things and I can continue having my calls. It didn't account for the fact that I actually have to leave the house and come back, which means nothing is going to get cooked. So we're back to what's dinner today. So I would love anyone's advice at this point on what you make when there's not a lot to make.
The first thing that comes to my mind is pressure cooker chicken. It's a
great idea.
Throw it in the pressure cooker and you just figure out where to put it. Is it on salad? I don't know. Does it go on a bun? Maybe. Is it by itself? Sure. Yeah. And this is it gets such the perfect example of our minds are going all the time that sometimes those basic things. And it's like right now we're laughing it off. In the moment, I would imagine you're probably like, are you kidding me? Like,
I wasn't finding it so funny yesterday at 8 p.m. I really wasn't finding it that funny. And then to have that realization again this morning at 7 o'clock, I was like, I'm done already. I'm done already. Why is somebody not already here to do this for me?
See, that is exactly the point here is, again, we have so many things going through our brain at any given time. And then the stuff, I mean, like feeding our families that really matters, it gets pushed to the back burner. I mean, I can't think of how many times I'm like, well, I'm going to grab a little bit of this and a little something out of the pantry. We're going to throw it together because mom's had a day. We are surviving now. So I thought one of the things that could be helpful is if we maybe went through and talked a little bit about some of the things that women can do, we as women can do to actually help alleviate some of this burnout, because those statistics are scary. And let's face it, I think that just thinking about how many different connections we have, the women that are part of the Trailblazers community, women that are in different networks that we're part of, there are so many amazing, incredible women out there moving and shaking, making great strides in their business. And I don't want to see us start to just burn out and dwindle out and actually walk away. As wonderful as the beach sounds, because seriously, some days it is enticing, I want to make sure that we collectively work together and we build each other up. So maybe we can ping pong this a little bit, Disha, and I'll go through maybe the first one is, this is something that's actually worked for me in recent times and at different times of my life where things just felt hard and where I had to really take a serious look. I mean, we're laughing and joking here today, but when you're in the suck, like when you are in that trap of feeling like truly, it's like you said, you don't care the consequence. You don't like, you're like, I'll figure it out in some capacity because it's what I do, but it's not a good feeling to have. So one of the things that has worked for me is really looking at where is my energy leaking or being depleted. And that can be in the form of maybe one of your companies. Maybe there's something that you're holding on to that you're like, okay, it's time to put this to bed. Maybe it's with a team member. Maybe it's with a colleague, a business partner, a family member, or whatever. Maybe it's in the form of a person. It could be in the form of how you're spending your time. Like, are you finding yourself getting more and more sucked into the social media scroll? Like Instagram, all of a sudden, you really want to check out all these ads because why not? You need that brain break. But in reality, that brain break is really depleting your energy, because then you get into the whole comparison game and you get into wasting time on things that don't matter. And that doesn't feel good. So that's one thing for me, is really doing that energy audit to see, where am I expending energy that is unnecessary and that doesn't serve the bigger purpose of what I'm trying to accomplish.
Now, Brittany, I know that you've experienced burnout, and so have I. And a lot of those things sometimes are dependent on what we continue to say yes to and not delegate. I know that I'm intrinsically bad at asking for help. I'm happy to just go, oh, I'll take that, I'll take that, I'll take that. I never actually say to myself, I in the best position to be able to do this. Is there someone who could do it quicker and faster than me? And that's a hard lesson I've learned, and I'm sure that you have too. And a lot of the times when you engage with those other people that need your help, or you need their help even, it makes your life so much easier because they bring their brain to the table. And the truth is, they've probably got better solutions to your problems or your to-do list or your task list than you have. And they may approach it differently. And that's really important when you're leading a business too. I would also say the other thing that really helped me earlier this year was to understand that the day has to come to a close at some point. And that's because we all have to have a life, right? So business has to close and you have to move on from that and start rebuilding the boundaries to cut the noise and really focus on on what you want and the values that you hold. Now, we were laughing and joking about the food that I clearly not going to have this evening, but one of my values is putting healthy, nutritious meals on the table. And so if I'm continuously deviating from my own values for my family and myself, then that doesn't make me feel good. In fact, it makes me feel really pretty shitty, if I was truthful. And it digs away at you in a different way because you're continuing to work on something that you're clearly very passionate about. And I do think that in burnout, sometimes that passion does dwindle a lot. And just waking up in the morning is hard work, and you're putting yourself through the pace and the motion that you know you should, but you're not totally invested in it. So I would say another one is rebuild your boundaries and what do you want your day to look like? And it's okay that your 24 million things on your to-do list don't get done in the next 24 hours. It's fine, right? Unless you're saving lives or something along those lines, which I know Brittany and I don't do, everything else can be queued up and prioritized.
Yeah, I think that is such a great point, because I don't know about anybody here, but I love making lists of things that need to get done. And I am over ambitious. What do we call it, Disha? Oh, time optimism, right? It's like,
Yes, that's right.
there's those people in your life that tend to be maybe a little bit late for things. And I might be that person, and Disha might be that person too.
Yeah.
But it's not because we're careless or we've got our feet up on the coffee table having popcorn and whatever. It's because we think we can get so much done in such a little period of time. And then you look at your list and you feel so defeated because you're like, wow, I only got 2 things done and there's 75 left. So giving yourself that permission to say, that's okay. Like, you got a couple big important things done, and that's what matters. The other thing, and you touched on this a little bit too, Disha, is the people in your life. It was a fleeting comment, but I'll use this. We're just going to give a shout out to our wonderful lady, Fern, right now. Fern Fuller, I am full on calling you out because you are an amazing human being. But I just told Disha actually that I have some things that I need help with. Like, I need to reset on a few organization type things, some projects. I need some closure in another business that I have with just putting a plan together, all the things. And I knew that, could I do it? Yep. Have I done it yet and known that I needed to do it for probably 6 months? Haven't gotten it done yet. And so Disha, through conversation, she's like, you got to talk to Fern. Like, I just get on the phone with her. You need to do this. Okay, I'm going to do it. No joke. Just by sitting on the phone with this woman, I was like, I feel 1,000 times lighter. And the reason for it is I was starting to spiral and go down that path of burnout. Like, I was like, I can't do it all. I don't know how I'm going to get to all of this. How am I going to put closure to this? And just by sitting in a space with somebody who we have a shared value system and our overall thought process is very aligned, but how Fern works and how I work are two very different things. And bless Fern, because she is so talented. And it was just this, her mind was just like, oh, this is all we need to do. This, and this. Here's your couple of priorities. This is what I'm going to send, and everything's good. And so I think it goes back to putting yourself with the right people. I mean, I have asked for help from people in all different walks of life for years. And Disha, I'll toot your horn a little bit too. Like, you have been such a huge catalyst for me in just being a space to, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on, and to help get me out of it. And the same thing with talking to Fern, as it was like, oh my gosh, this is really not that hard. Brittany, you're making this so hard and so complex. So I think that when you're looking at bringing yourself back up out of that slump, do not do it alone. Put yourself in spaces with the right people. There are people out there that have great intentions and want to help you and want to help you succeed or see you succeed or whatever, but they just might not have the tools or the resources or the capabilities to help you in the way that you need. So you got to find those people that can really rally around you and just spot when you are spiraling, or spot when, hey, you know what, you seem like you're overwhelmed, or hey, you're close to burnout. Let's get through this together, instead of feeling like we are the almighty powerful woman that has to go do it alone, because we have maybe that tendency here or there.
And it's really important, Brittany, like you said, that someone's there to help you spot it, because you don't know you're on a downward spiral until you're at the bottom of that spiral a lot of the times. Like, I know I've spoken to, you've been a great sounding board for me, and you've been like, Disha, come on, let's do this. Maybe do this. And sometimes it's with resistance. I'm like, because I know what you're saying is true. She's correct. But it's the actual brain power of going through with that execution, knowing that it is in your best interest and that human being is looking out for you. And those people are hard to find, if I was truthful. Most people won't spot it, or if they do, they won't say anything, which is even more damaging.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's important. And I think that's just the gist in the Trailblaze. I mean, really why we created the Trailblazers is because we wanted to put ourselves in rooms and bring other women together and put them in the same room and say, hey, let's all have super honest conversations. Let's show up and be fiercely who we are, no holds barred, no sugarcoating, nothing, knowing that you have women around you that fully have your back. And I think that's what makes growth so beautiful. And that makes the failures beautiful too, because then you come and you're like, all right, well, I tried this. It didn't go the way that I'd hoped, or it fell flat on its face, or I totally forgot to buy groceries for 6 days, or whatever the case is. You have people that can help put you out of it. So I think our whole goal here is we don't want to become a statistic. We don't want to be part of that. What was it? 1 in 3 or 33% or whatever that are at this point of burnout and of just throwing in the towel. And I think the goal is that we really want to rally and do this together and keep pushing forward and not fall into that stuff.
Absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I want to have this kind of final closing thought for you. I always like to have something tangible, whether it is in action. So obviously go through and think about what are some of the things that have worked for you before. So if you're facing this moment of burnout, or if you are recognizing symptoms in somebody else, reach out, right? Like it's never intrusive. I think that's the thing that is also so magical, is it's like we hesitate sometimes, just the niceness in us. We're like, oh, we don't want to point anything out. What if it hurts their feelings? It's like, please come at me and hurt my feelings.
And most of the time we're grateful for someone saying, and you're like, someone noticed? That's a refreshing change, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so true. It's like, yes, when you feel seen and heard and you're like, hey, I noticed this in you. It's a good feeling, because a lot of times as the hustle and bustle women who are doing all the things, who are taking care of our business and our teams and our families at home and trying to show up as, like we said, friends and sisters and siblings and daughters and all the things, we don't always get recognized like that. So I think that's so true. So the
And
thing,
we know we're not alone then. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. It is that is so true. So, the final thought, I guess, to leave you with is you did not build the business that you're in just to feel trapped by it. This should be freeing. As Disha said, we got into business in the first place for time freedom, for money freedom, for creativity freedom. So we don't want to feel like prisoners in our own business. And it's time for us as women to take back that control so we don't become one of those burnout statistics.
Absolutely. If this resonated with you, we would love for you to share this episode of the Trailblazers with a fellow Trailblazer who maybe needs it. And do follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, or visit thetrailblazehers.com to stay updated on future episodes and behind the scenes content. Once again, I'm Disha Solanki with Brittany Anderson, and you've been listening to the Trailblazers. Thank you for joining us today.